Welcome to the Rise Up Sessions, a psychology podcast about real life, real change, and the decisions that shape us. Welcome back to the Rise Up Sessions, episode 2, season 2. I'm Zisa Levine. I am a licensed clinical social worker. I'm also a multiple business owner. And we talk about business through a psychology lens. So today's episode is particularly pertinent because we are going to talk about fear of success. Fear of success. The fear of losing yourself as a person, as your identity, right? If you succeed. I think a lot of people have this idea that if they're going to achieve a certain thing, then they will have made it. They will have done it, and they will have been, and then they get stuck in that notion and live their lives as though that is the only way and the only thing that they can do. They attach a lot of their self-worth to money and status and whatever that means in their minds. The only problem is that it's never enough, is it? It's never enough. That number of if I had X amount of money, I would be good. If I had X amount of, a certain level of fame, I would be good. And then you get there. And then it becomes, okay, what's next? What's the next number? What's the next level? And people really get stuck in that because if it's never enough, that means that I never get to disconnect. I never get to stop working, right? I never get to really be present for now, for the moment, because I'll often hear people talking about, especially people who come from either a difficult background where they never had any money, or a background where their parents are pressuring them or have always pressured them to make a lot of money, or, whatever the story may be, or just greed, right? That they're working toward the future. And the problem with that is that the future becomes now very quickly. And that I think I saw this on a t-shirt. It's like, oh, would you look at that? The bridge that I was going to cross when I came to it. That bridge, which is the future, can become now very, very quickly. And then what do? I've got nothing to show for it except money or status. And if that doesn't get me anything except money and status, then I'm actually pretty poor, aren't I? What about the things that actually mean something in life, right? The real assets, the friendships that we make along the way, family, spiritual growth. And when I say spiritual, whatever that means to you, it could be religious, it could be, 12-step, it could be whatever you need it to be, whatever you want it to be. Spirituality means it's not all about me, and I'm not God, right? I'm not that. It means personal growth. It means self-dignity and self-worth and value, right? Valuing myself and all those assets that make me actually really internally rich. If I put all of that value onto money, the old saying is that you can't take money to the grave. I mean, you can, but it's not going to do you much good, right? Trying to find a purpose, and that purpose not have a number attached to it, number of views, number of followers, number of dollars, right? Number of friends. How many people have you heard say that they have a very small but very, very, very good, tight-knit group of friends, right? Family. I don't know anybody who's got 150 cousins that they're close with all of them. But there's always that one or two, or that 3 or 4, right? That group that is that very... My point is, it's not the big number that matters. It's what I do with it. If I do end up, making all this money or doing all this stuff, it's about making my purpose then be a little bit different. Because let me tell you that the road to that success is very, very, very difficult, and it brings up stress and insecurities. Oh my God, does it bring up insecurities? It brings up emotional stuff that we never resolved as children, as young adults, as adults. So, for an example, over the past, I want to say month, I've had the largest turnover that I have ever had in the history of Rise Up. History as it is, right? 2 years, but 2.5 years, but still. In 1 month, I think I lost 4 people. 3 of whom were made to leave, 2 of whom were made to leave, and 2 of whom left on their own, of their own volition. And I was very tempted to stay up at night and say, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? What am I doing that is making these people not want to work for me? Because remember, I built this with my bare hands, right? Like not literally, but I built this business from the ground up. All these businesses. Rise Up Counseling was just me. And then it became just one other person. And then it became more than me. And now we're 14. And then it became 11. And then it became 13 again. And it was, what is going on here? Why am I not able to why am I not the place that everybody wants to work at for the rest of their lives and never retire and yada, yada, yada? Right? The fear of abandonment and rejection and all of the things. And then I realized, not everybody's going to like me all the time, just like I'm not everybody's type. Some people like blondes. Some people like people in a larger body. Some people like people in a smaller body than the one I have. Some people are not okay with tattoos. Oops. And so on and so on and so forth. And that's just on a physical level, right? Let alone the personality. Not everybody's going to want to work for me all the time. And sometimes things fizzle out. And sometimes in one particular situation, I had a clinician who was very close to being fired, and she knew it, so she left first, which in her mind gave her the upper hand, and she was pretty disgusting toward the end. It is what it is, but at least she felt that way because she was the one who left. Whereas if she were made to leave, I think it would have been a very different story, and I don't know that she could have lived with that, and that's okay. It was very easy to try to go right into that. It was much harder for me to pull myself out and say, whoa, it is not all me. My business decisions will not make everybody happy all the time. And I had a couple of clinicians who left because they didn't like the fact of how I handled their supervision, that I would refuse to pay for it because they weren't going to have a minimum required number of clients. And that is a business decision because I was losing money. And at the end of the day, it is a business. And they left, and that is okay. And I really wish all of these people nothing but good things. There was a point where I thought they would be a very, very good match for the company. And for over a year they were, each one of them separately, a year and a half. And things come to an end. But the insecurity, am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? Is it ever going to be enough? Am I going to prove something to myself or to my, dead father or right, whoever, whatever, that I made it or that I wanted? It's just, it magnifies a lot of these things, and the stress can be enormous. And so having the fortitude to be able to sit down and say, okay, I'm not going to attach all of this meaning to the number. Maybe instead I create those assets that we talked about and really focus on emotional health throughout this journey, and not attach my worth to the amount of money that I make. I know I said that, but I'm going to keep driving that point home. My worth is not tied to how many things I have. It shouldn't anyway. And for a lot of people, a lot of it also comes down to redefining how they look at their purpose. I understand that a lot of people will say, but I'm a provider, especially men, right? I'm a provider. I'm a man. I need to provide for my family. Yes, but providing doesn't only mean money. It means parenting. It means discipline. It means being that figure who's always going to be there and not always not going to be there because I'm always working. It is playing with your kids. I think I've spoken about this client before, but one of the very, 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 very few clients I have left, because I really don't want to let go of that clinical piece. Not yet anyway. But one of the very few clients who I still have has been with me for a very, very long time. And initially it was very difficult for him to be present for his children, and then it became way more important, and then he found a balance. Way more important than work, and then he found a balance. And that balance is, he is the only breadwinner of the family, but he makes a shit ton of money. So that is awesome. And I hope nothing but good things for him on that level as well, of course. And he has gotten to a point where he's shown me videos of how much his toddler just so looks forward to seeing him come home. And when he gets out of the car, gets so super excited, right? His wife sent him this little video and it was just the cutest thing. That man is rich. That man is rich. Whether he loses his house tomorrow, loses his job, or anything, he can get another job. But his children love him so much that they start jumping up and down when dad comes home. It is the cutest, sweetest, he's the richest man in the world. He really is. I think I spoke about him. This is the same person who came to therapy at first because he was angry that his baby was going to have a better life than he did. And the tremendous, tremendous work that he's done over the past couple of years it's been, for me as a clinician, it's been life-altering. As a person, it's been life-altering to be privileged enough to watch that happen. And for him, obviously, it's been life-altering. He loves coming home now. He loves being with his children. It's just a beautiful thing to see. Good people. And just really trying to not lose myself in this as well, right? Like I have to remember that I came into this business to help people. And so no matter how much money I do or don't make, and no matter how well I do or don't do, to remember that it is at the end of the day about people. And like I said, some people are not going to want to work for me all the time forever and eternity and never retire, because I'm not for everyone, and neither is the company, and neither are the business policies. And for those who do, it's a very, very good place to work. And for me not to forget about that. One of the reasons that I opened up the new consulting firm, Risology, was because I started thinking about it as, for the longest time, I was the server, right? I was taking care of the diners. And now I really have this great opportunity to take care of the back of the house, of the cooks and the fryers and the dishwashers, and to start making sure that they are taken care of, right? The therapists and those who are trying to build and not knowing where they are and what they're doing, and to redefine success, that if I'm not seeing a large caseload doesn't mean that I'm not doing well. It means that I have a very small caseload, and I'm also taking care of other people in a very different capacity, which I truly appreciate that I have the ability to do. It adds to my quality of life. It 100% adds to my quality of life when I'm able to look at all these different avenues that I've been able to take that are extremely helpful to a lot of different people. I'm very, very happy to not be in any kind of limelight. This podcast has been very difficult for me to keep up with because I don't want to be known, and I don't want you to know my personal shit, and I don't want all of that. And yet I'm here because I think it's important to share. I think it's important that people know about these businesses, they know about what we offer, and that people get a chance to take advantage of it, and that maybe you, if you're struggling with any of these things, can see that if I can do it, you can do it. I really, really, really have worked very hard to not lose myself as a person, my identity. In fact, I've grown from it because of these different things that I'm doing, and because of them becoming successful. And, all I've ever wanted in life was peace. It's all I've ever wanted. Peace. I thought I found it in many, many things that were not actually peaceful. They gave the illusion of peace, but they were not peaceful, whether it was people or substances or, whatever the story may be. Work. That's still a problem. But I'm honestly able to say that since leaving my marriage, and since being on my own, and since working in these specific ventures, and taking the time to take care of myself mentally, I'm back in therapy, has been the peace that I've always wanted. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, I don't smoke cigarettes, I don't vape, I don't even drink, well, I take caffeine pills, but don't judge me. It's just as bad as coffee, just without the nasty flavor. But I don't judge. But I don't do any of those things. So I don't go to bars, and I don't go clubbing, and I just have peace. I work, I go to the gym, I spend time with friends and family. I make it a point to just enjoy my life. And when I go to sleep at night, I have peace. I keep my house clean. I keep it neat. I really, really, really appreciate the people in my life. Everything from, my landlords at the different businesses that are just amazing. Shout out Arun, Ernie, Nicole. All the way through to the different vendors, Gaurav, who's going to be editing this video. Shout out to you. Without him, I would not be where I am. The man is incredible at his work, and he does everything for me, from Google Ads to editing these kinds of videos to I don't even know what it's called, but something to do with the Facebook and Instagram ads, where you have to like implement this whole thing and the code and the I don't know what, and he just does it in his sleep, and it's just incredible, because without him, I don't know where I would be. And then just all the people that go with it. Besides, these major forces in my life that I speak a lot to, there's also just everybody and everything else. And it gives my life purpose without purpose having to be tied to a number on a scale, a number of followers, a number of views, a number of dollars, a number of anything, number of comments, it doesn't matter. It's about knowing that my family is in Israel, and they're all in Israel, and my nephews are in the military, and that I give a shit, and it matters that I give a shit. Because if, God forbid, anything happens, good or bad, not God forbid, if anything happens, good or bad, I'm one of the people who gets the updates, because I've made it a point to really, really grow the relationship with my siblings, that they will tell me. And, I tell them the same when anything good or bad happens. And still waiting on that CT scan results, by the way, so I still don't know if I have anything good or bad to tell them. I'm sure it's fine. But still waiting on the results, so I will let everybody know. Don't worry. Please don't worry, because if you worry, I'm going to worry. And I'm not that important. Just having that sense of self and not losing it to money and status is really what it comes down to. And having that ability to do that, whether you come from a rich family and want to keep being rich, a poor family and want to be rich, all the different things and want to be rich, the true richness, like we've been saying over and over and over again today, is everything but the money and the status and the fame. It's when you go to sleep at night, can you actually put your head on the pillow and be calm and be happy? It's when you look in the mirror, do you like what you see? And I don't mean physically. Mm-hmm. It's if you died tomorrow, would you be able to meet whatever your opinion or idea of whatever happens is, and be able to talk about your life and be okay with it? I've made some horrible decisions and some terrible mistakes in my life, and I take accountability for them, and I try every single day, and I fail all the time, by the way, to be the best version of myself that I can be, and to make up for those things, and to make sure they don't happen again. And I fail all of the time, and yet I make an effort. Because you know what? The money and the status just don't matter. What matters is that if I put my head on the pillow and I don't wake up tomorrow, me and God, we're chilling. We're good. My version of God, right? We're good. I can't take back what I've done, but I can make up for it. I can't stop bad things from happening to good people, but I can be there for them when they do. I cannot lose myself in the hustle of trying to get more and more and more. And like I said, I fail at it all the time, but I have to tell you, it wasn't until I heard, and I think I said this in a previous episode, it wasn't until I heard how much I owed the government that I said, wait a second. Does that mean that I'm making a good amount of, for a salary? Because, only people who make decent amounts owe this much in taxes. And then I saw how much I made, and I was like, holy mother of God. Which is not a very Jewish thing to say, but I'm just holy fuck, right? that this is not how I live my life. I'm not living to go and buy a yacht, and I'm not living to go and, party in Ibiza. I just want to help people, and I just want to make sure that my peace stays, and to not lose myself, not lose my identity, not lose who I am. Just because I've reached a certain level of, number of businesses. Like we said, it's not about the number. It's about what I do with it, and it's about what kind of utility I get out of helping and doing, so that I can help more. I don't know if any of that made sense, but I hope everybody's having an incredible summer. If you could relate to any of this, feel free to check out all 3 businesses. Certainly, if you're looking for therapy, riseupcounseling.net. If you're looking for eating disorder and trauma help for adolescents and adults, it's beyondyourmirror.com. And if you're looking for help with scaling up your business, certainly in the mental health field, go to risologyconsulting.com. And if you want to see a little bit of information about all of those, go to Zisa, Z-I-S-A, Levine, L-E-V-I-N-E, services.com. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to the Rise Up Sessions. If this episode resonated with you, follow the podcast, and I'll see you next time.